Hello everyone, welcome back to Luke's Movie Talk. I'll go over some of the most recent movies I've been watching. And for this video I'll be looking at Smile, the most recent horror movie in cinemas. But just before I get into that, I did a review for the new anime movie Inuo, so if you're interested, go give that a watch. And make sure to like and subscribe to keep up to date with all future uploads. Okay, so let's get into the plot of Smile. A psychiatrist, Dr. Rose Cotter, is looking after patients, having a normal day, when an urgent case calls for her. A young university student has been seeing things and seemingly hallucinating. The important detail, every hallucination smiles at her. She then freaks out and changes, only smiling at the doctor. She stares at Rose and then proceeds to cut her throat, all while smiling. This is such a creepy moment where the girl is basically panicking and writhing around on the floor, and then it all goes quiet, and the doctor turns back round and she's just standing there smiling at her. And then she just cuts her face, and then is just on the floor smiling. It is terrifying because it's basically all in complete silence, where she's just staring at her, and it's staring right at the camera, so you feel like they're staring at you. It's horrifying to watch. Over the next day, Rose tries to figure out what happened to this girl, but Rose seemingly starts seeing things and being tormented by something. So she obviously sees what happens, and then over the next day or so, she's at home looking at shadows, and she looks like she's seeing smiles. It is eerie as hell because there's no noise, and she just sees this like smile in the shadows, and then it cuts away, and then it's not there anymore. It's horrifying. There's no jump scares. It's the tension of something there. I think that's the worst kind of horror. Not worst, but the most terrifying, because there's nothing to scare you. It's just there, and you have to like think: is it really there? Is it not there? Her boss gives her the week off to recover, but things don't improve, and when her gift for her nephew is revealed as her dead cat, she freaks out. A smiling hallucination scares her, and she falls through a glass table. So it's just spiraling and escalating for Rose, and it's not getting better. Over the day, she starts seeing things, her cat goes missing, and she is just terrified of like looking at anything because it could spiral out of control. She could see another hallucination. People are starting to think she's lost it and they're not listening to her anymore. But she's trying to explain, like she's seeing things, but everyone's just thinking, oh, she's gone loopy or something, and she's just trying to explain, oh, I'm seeing these things, please help me. Rose finds out before her patient Laura died, she witnessed her professor's suicide, and with the help of her ex Joel, who is a police detective, Rose realises there is a chain of people witnessing suicides and then killing themselves. So they find out through the case files that each person, within like 7 days, saw someone kill themselves in front of them. They witnessed it, and then they killed themselves in another horrific way in front of someone else. And it's a chain to each person next and next. Rose and Joel find out someone survived, but did this by killing someone and passing the curse to another witness. So they go to the prison and they interview the person, and he basically says, yeah, that's the only way you can do it. You have to kill someone in front of someone else to cause them trauma to pass it on. And then when he finds out that Rose is the person that's being affected now, he completely loses it and is like, get away from me, and like he doesn't want to be near this curse. He wants to be nothing to do with it, and he just freaks out. And Rose is like, what am I going to do? I can't kill someone. So she's between a rock and a hard place. The hallucinations get worse, with the entity taking her therapist's form and telling her it's almost time. So she starts seeing things like the therapist calls up while the therapist is there, but it's her hallucination. So Rose is like absolutely terrified because the therapist's face just starts smiling and she doesn't know what to do. There's also another moment where she visits her sister to try and convince her, and she goes to the car. You see the sister walk back out, knocks on the window, and her head just tilts sideways. It's horrifying because you don't expect it. Unfortunately, I did because I saw it in the trailer, but if you hadn't seen that, it would have been horrifying to see because you don't know what's real. Is the person just a normal person, or is it just another hallucination? You just don't know. Rose then hallucinates killing a psychiatric patient, leaving her distraught. So she's basically trying to figure out what to do, and she even starts to think, oh, I'll just go kill a patient. She goes and seemingly kills one, but then a doctor sees her, but then he tears his face off and she wakes up. So it's all been one hallucination, and she's angry because she doesn't know what to do. She doesn't want to kill someone, but then she'll end up dying anyway. So she just is so lost at this point. To stop the curse chain, Rose goes to her old secluded family home, where she witnessed her mother die from a drug overdose. The entity morphs into her mother while there, and then a grotesque version, tall and lanky, but Rose sets it on fire and runs. So basically, she tries to confront it, sets it on fire, and the whole house just lights up and she leaves, seemingly leaving the entity dead. She goes to Joel, thinking it's over, but Joel is actually the entity in disguise, and Rose never actually left the house. So it's all been another big hallucination, and she actually tries to get away from the Joel impersonator, runs out the door, but it's actually still the family home. So she didn't get away in the end at all, she was just there still. Joel arrives at Rose's family home to help, but Rose runs back in to try and save him, but is finally possessed by the creature. This is a really terrifying scene where Rose is basically mentally at the lowest point, and the entity basically rips its face off and is shown to be this like fleshy, multiple smiles. It's horrifying to look at, and it almost rips her face off and climbs inside her mouth. You don't actually see that, but just the start of it. Joel enters and sees a smiling Rose covered in fuel. She sets herself on fire and then passes the curse to Joel. So basically, she couldn't stop it in the end, and it's just now another chain in the long chain of other people. So in the end, she lost, and now Joel is going to have to figure out what he can do. So I had a great time with this film. I thought it was really cool. It was one of the better horror films I've seen in a while. A lot of the unnerving face shots are so eerie. Like, it will just stick with a shot of the person, like, face on with the camera, and it just stares. And no sound, no music. It's just, like, face on the camera. And it's just so eerie to watch, because a lot of the time it's either someone smiling directly at the camera or someone, like, terrified looking straight at the camera. So it's always just scary. The tension build-up is great. Like, a lot of the time, they'll either, like the classic horror trope of, oh, there's no sound, and then a jump scare. But sometimes it's a no sound, and then nothing happens. So you don't actually know what's going to happen. You're going to get scared, or is it just more build-up? It's really good tension building, I think. As I said, the fake-outs work really well. So sometimes it will be, oh, build-up of quietness in the dark, and then there'll be a scare, which really got me, because obviously horrors like that is really good. But sometimes it would be the music dies down, we're in a dark room, but then nothing happens. So the fake outs work really well. Sometimes you're expecting it, nothing happens, and then next time, when something does happen, you weren't expecting it because it doesn't happen every time. So I think it really worked well faking people out. You feel really sorry for Rose because nobody believes her. She's just trying to figure out what's going on, and everyone just thinks she's just gone crazy. And she's just trying to understand what's going on, and just nobody believes her, and she's just helpless at this point, and she just has to literally put on a smile to act like everything's normal. Joel is a good guy, but ends up paying for it in the end, because he tried to help Rose, but in the end, he helped her too much, and the trap the entity set, and he ends up being the next chain. All the smiling is terrifying. Like, every character that ends up smiling is so weird and eerie to look at, especially the original character, Laura, I think her name was. She is just, ugh. Smiling is just creepy as all hell. Never knowing what's hallucination or not, I think really helped, because you never know if it's real, is it not real, is it going to go for her, is it just another normal person? And I think as she slowly deteriorates mentally, it gets scarier for her, and it affects the audience as well, because you don't know, oh, is it going to be real this time or not? The cat present was a good twist. Like, obviously we knew that the cat went missing, but I never thought, oh, she had the cat in the present. I thought, oh, it's just a train, but no, I think that was a really good twist, because I didn't even think about it when it happened, and then when they opened the present and he just pulls out the cat, I was like, oh my god. That's the worst way to traumatize a kid. There was a good few jump scares. The best ones were shown in the trailer, unfortunately, like the head swinging when she's in the car from the sister. I think that was a really good scare, but they used it in the trailer, which is kind of unfortunate. Some of the low points, though, is that the entity's voice mixing with Rose's therapist was a weird, generic, like, low voice. It was kind of just generic evil character, and I thought it was kind of weird that character. I think it would have been better if the therapist hallucination had just got up, smiled at her, and walked towards her instead of doing the creepy voice. I think it would have been more sinister if it didn't say anything. The final design, either the lanky version of the mother or the skinless thing, were kind of letdowns, especially after seeing all the drawings from a previous victim. So you actually saw one of the victims draw out what they had been seeing, like all the creepy smiles. I think it would have been really cool if it was just a random person, but they had this really ominous smile, but it was just this generic like fleshy monster in the end. It was kind of just like, oh okay, nothing too special. It was just this creepy smiling thing. I think it would have been cool if it was just this generic person that just really had a good smile or something like that. But overall, I had a great time with this film. There's lots of good scares. There's a lot of tension building moments and eerie moments. It's such a good film. If you love horror or you love films full of the tension building that all these films have, it's such a good one. I think if you like It Follows, this will probably be a good like accompanying film with that. But yeah, that's my thoughts on this film. If you like this, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to keep up to date with all future uploads. And until next time, I will see you all later.